Let's review an example in C# to illustrate how to use various algorithms in XLMiner SDK to create a data mining workflow. Let's start with classification tree algorithm. Here is the workflow. You can start with reading the data from a file. With this line of code, you can read data from a file.
Here, we set the path to datasets folder.
Using this line of code, you can draw a sample called sample data using simple random sampling. Here the sample size is set to 400. You can partition the sample into training and validation sets. Here, with these lines of code, we are partitioning sample data into training and validation sets, where 60% of the records are assigned to the training partition and 40% of the records are assigned to the validation partition. Next, we are extracting input data and output columns in each partition. There are various methods of storing or accessing target columns. For example, the target column may be stored in another file or other source or populated programmatically. In the first two lines of code, the 15th column is designated as the target or output variable. Here, the input data and output or target columns are chosen for the training set. And here, the input data and output or target columns are chosen for the validation set. And num training rows is set equal to number of rows in the training set. Now we call an algorithm here the classification tree to use above data for classification. First, a new classification tree estimator called estimator is created and two parameters are set. The minimum number of records in leaves is set to 10% of the total number of records in the training data, and the method for computing prior probabilities is set to empirical. You can also set other parameters. For example, let's set estimator. Here you can access different parameters. Let's choose maximum node and set it to 10. Now let's run this to verify these settings. As you can see, the maximum number of nodes is set to 10 and prior probability method is set to empirical. Here the model is fit using the training set input and target columns. Let's look at the model. Here you can see the success class and success probability. We have the information for all nodes, and here we can see the decision nodes. Then, the fitted classification tree model is used to score the validation partition. Let's take a look. You can see the cat.medv values and also the predicted labels. And here, the confusion matrix and other metrics are generated.
And finally, we clean up the memory.
Let's run it and get the results. Here are the results of classification tree algorithm.
Confusion matrix for training, confusion matrix for validation, and the value of F1.